Thanks for being with us tonight here on Arc Salt Lake. I'm Brian Schnee. Wednesday, February 18th. Hopefully you made it home safe through the storm. Tonight, Utah's missing. We're hearing from a volunteer who helps find missing children. But first, we're going to take a look at our weather and our first big snowstorm. We have to talk about this. 44 inches this storm cycle at Alta. I was just checking it out. Now, Alta's higher elevation, but some places where you and I live actually got some snow. Here's Sean Kelly with our first alert forecast. Hi, Sean.
Hey, yeah, generally across the Wasatch Front, it was a success, verified for much of the region, 2 to 5 inches. The only areas across portion of the Wasatch Front that didn't see that much, southwestern areas in the valley here saw about a coating to an inch, including the Tooele Valley area. You could see winter storm warnings linger for central and northern Utah mountains. That'll continue through the overnight. Some lingering snow showers are out there. But generally, we are wrapping up storm number 2, though we do have one more moderate, maybe even at times heavy band of lake effect snow setting up from North Salt Lake across Bountiful, the Bountiful Bench. You could pick up maybe a quarter to half an inch with this. And then generally, we're wrapping this thing up and we're all said and done. Now we get ready for the cold air that will continue to usher in 28 degrees right now, by the way. This will be some of the coldest temperatures we've seen so far this season in many spots. Will be down into the lower 20s, teens in other spots, and also single digits across those higher elevations up into the mountains. And believe it or not, we've got another storm heading into Utah tomorrow. We'll talk about that coming up. My first alert weather forecast.
In tonight's Utah's Missing, there are many groups who are dedicated to helping missing children. Road Warriors for the Missing is one of them, working tirelessly with volunteers to provide awareness on social media and with flyers placed throughout our communities. Jason Clark has been with them since 2015. I caught up with him earlier today to learn more about Road Warriors for the Missing, and I asked him how you could get involved.
For a long time, we didn't keep any numbers. We didn't keep track of anything. We just flew by the seat of our pants and did the best we could. And we had great results. In 2024, we started keeping some numbers. And in 2024, we rescued 52 kids. I haven't got the statistics done for 25, but we're real proud of what we've done and glad to be able to make a difference in the lives of these children at a time when they desperately need it.
What is the main goal of Road Warriors for the Missing? What is the main focus of the campaign you'll do for an individual case, or what you try to accomplish for each individual circumstance?
We want the kid back where they belong. We want them at home. And we use every tool every time to make certain that happens.
What sort of tools do you use? Take me through
it. When an intake comes in, a private investigator volunteers to work the case. The email blast team starts sending emails into businesses in the area where the child went missing. The social media crew gets things started on all the social media platforms, and the road as soon as possible gets to the area where the child was last seen, knocking on doors, posting flyers, gathering information, relaying it back to the private investigator who guides us to where the kid is.
Why do you do this, Jason?
About 13 or 14 years ago, I was sitting at my desk. I was a manager at a car dealership, and I saw an ad come up that said, look, if a kid goes missing in your area, you go post flyers. The worst thing that can happen is you go ride your motorcycle, have some fun. And the best thing that can happen is you save a kid. I thought, why wouldn't I sign up for that? So I signed up. Handful of months later, a guy from Texas calls me and he says, hey, we got a kid missing in Salt Lake. Can you go post flyers? I said, as luck would have it, tomorrow's my day off. I'll go down. And my daughter went with me. And we went down, and as we were posting flyers, people were giving us information that they'd seen this child. And I'm relaying the information back to the guy in Texas. Pretty soon they called me and they said, hey, we think we've got enough information to find the child. Go ahead and go home. And I said something stupid. I said, if you need anything else, just give me a call. The next day they called me, a different guy. And he said, are you the guy that was in Salt Lake yesterday? I said, yeah. He said, "Are you the guy that said if we need anything else, you'd do it?" I said, "Absolutely." And he said, "Well, there's a park, the State Fair Park, and it doesn't seem likely that the police will be there at night. And this girl we think is being trafficked out of that park. Will you go tonight?" And I had told him I would do whatever I needed to do. So I told him I'd go, and pretty soon they started sending me mugshots of the people they thought she was with, and it was a rough crowd. I found a friend to go with me, and we got there at about 10 o'clock at night, and they weren't there in that park that night. We were there until sunrise. But all night, I was scared. And all I could think about is if I'm scared, how would you like to be that 14 or 15-year-old girl in the hands of the people they sent me those mugshots of? And just thinking about what that child must have felt every time anybody called, I would go.
There's some cases that you have shared some flyers on that I've done some coverage on, some that haven't been resolved. What is it like for you to go through that mentally over and over again with some that we're not getting the result we're hoping for?
It's tough. As high as the high is when you find them, the low is as low when you don't know. It's a lot of things in life. You know, you go play a great game of golf, good. You play a bad game of golf, but this is a kid's life that's at stake, and families put their trust in us, and when we don't get a positive resolution, it's a nagging feeling. But we won't stop until we figure out what happened.
What are some of the cases that you just want to get the hit on right now? Are there some that stick out to you?
We've got the FLDS cases I'd really like to have resolved. We've got Kylie Ariano out of Garden City. It would be great to have some good news on that one. We've got a big, tall kid, Dominique Campuzano, that's a pretty fresh case. And we've had some good leads on it. We just haven't got it wrapped up. And then we got a case this morning, Daxton Child, who we're just getting things started on. And those are the ones that right now I want all of. I wish we didn't have to do this. It would be better off if there was no need for an organization like ours, but we do. Those are the ones that I'd like to see wrapped up.
How can people help you?
Please share our flyers. It only takes one flyer to save a child. We just never know which one it's going to be. Share them, post them everywhere. If you want to get involved in the organization, there's room for anybody. We've got stay-at-home moms that are on the email blast team who take 10 minutes of their morning, and we give them an area to email flyers into, and 10 minutes a day, you might send the flyer that saves the kid. If you want to get more involved, join the road crew. We meet up, we go out, we post flyers, we knock on doors. There's room for anybody who wants to help save a kid.
Well, boy, do we appreciate people like Jason for their time, their dedication, and their volunteerism, if you will, to help. He mentioned a name at the end of the list of people they'd like to find. Daxton Child, found about 3 or 4 hours ago, by the way. So that one off the list, which is a good thing. On the list, a silver alert, one of 3 still active in the state. The search is still on for DeEtte Spencer, 69-year-old who was last seen at a Walmart in Price back on the 26th of January. She was supposed to be returning back home to Escalante, 133 miles directly as the crow flies southwest from her location. I've been hearing from some of you who want to know where DeEtte is and you want her home safe. She was last seen in a 2010 white Buick Lucerne. It's a Utah plate E604JU. The search has been scaled back a little bit. Time has been ticking, but The Garfield County Sheriff's Office continues to search since DeEtte resides in that county. It is not clear which direction DeEtte went from Price after she was seen on surveillance video around 10:30, the 26th of January. She was coming back into Utah from Colorado visiting family. A massive search ensued, though, covering thousands of square miles in multiple counties. And the Garfield County Sheriff's Office actually shared this statement with me that reads, "We want to keep this in the forefront so people may continue to keep looking out for DeEtte and her car. We are in contact with her family on a nearly daily basis. The family is also using all available resources to search for DeEtte, including chartering planes and helicopters. We understand the fear and frustration her family is experiencing, and we continue to hope for the best possible outcome." Again, if you have any information or spot that white Buick, call the Garfield County Sheriff's Office, 435-676-2678. Still ahead here on Arc Salt Lake, Utah is in a snow drought for, well, at least they are, but does that change? I'm really curious. What does that mean for our water supply in the summer? Well, this is absolutely terrifying, but 8 backcountry skiers who went missing after an avalanche near Lake Tahoe have been found deceased. The search for one more missing person is ongoing. This is in the Truckee area, by the way. Sick powder in that area, but too much of it, too much of the good stuff. The Nevada County Sheriff's Office says they were part of a group of 15 skiers and guides who are on a three-day trip when intense storms moved in on Tuesday, dumping several feet of snow. 6 members of the group were rescued overnight, and they suffered various injuries. Still an evolving situation and just horrifying for so many families. Even though we're getting what seems like quite a bit of snow today, Utah is still in a snow drought, and that means we might have okay precipitation levels, but there's not enough water in our snowpack. Statewide snowpack was at a record low earlier this month, and now we're playing some catch up. 2 News spoke with a state climatologist about why snowpack is important and what the rest of this year could look like as we head into the spring.
A gallon of January rain is not as usable as a gallon of January snow water that melts much later in the season. It's available later in the year when we're entering in the drier portion of our annual cycle of precipitation. We want that water to refill our reservoirs right before we're using it, so it's the most efficient form of our water delivery. And so our water infrastructure, the way that we have developed a relationship with our water here in the West and Utah, is very much built around the idea of accumulating snowpack through the winter, melting that during the spring, and recharging our reservoirs and our river systems through the spring and early summer months. We do have about a month, maybe 6 weeks left of our traditional snow accumulation season. We've got about 44 days left until the state sees the time of year where we're at our average peak. So we do have some runway left for these wetter stretches of the winter season when we can get these really juicy winter storms. However, we're in such a deficit right now that we're just kind of hoping to rebound. The expectation of us getting closer to normal for most of the state's basins really doesn't exist. Now we are just at this point finding loose change in the couch cushions to try and afford some of the incoming water demand that we're looking at this year.
He is back from the roof. We got him
right.
grounded again. Maybe you saw him on 2 News at 4. Sean, I never thought I'd be so excited about this minimal number here.
I know.
But it's something. Something is more than nothing, and nothing is basically what we had until this
Right.
point.
And we're heading in the right direction. You know, the snowpack as a whole was 50% 2 weeks ago. So with the recent storm, we won't get the numbers in, but tomorrow I think we'll be back up above 60%. Maybe after this third and final storm, maybe 65%.
I was looking at those numbers at Alta, right? And
Yeah.
I think I said to you and Chase earlier, could we get like 8 more of these, please?
Yeah.
It'd be really helpful.
I'll give you at least one. We've
Good.
got one at least in the forecast.
All right.
And Alta, yeah, could pick up another 8 inches of snow by the end of the week. But 2.1 officially out at the airport. Biggest snow of the season for many. There's that 43 inches at Alta, South Logan 12. Brigham City 10 inches, 9 inches in Midway, Bountiful Bench 5 inches, downtown Salt Lake City 5 inches, in the Mill Creek area 5 inches, Ogden 4 and 3 down in Cedar City. So it was a statewide impactful storm, and we are wrapping this thing up and getting ready for the cold weather that will continue to settle in. We are down into the 20s, so please be mindful of some flash freezing temperatures here that will create some icy conditions here through the overnight and into tomorrow morning. There will certainly be icy spots. 19 in Park City, 29 in Provo, 20 in Panguitch. After seeing some 50 to 60 mile-per-hour winds the past several days, the winds are also settling down, though they're out of the northwest. That's a cold wind, but still a bit breezy, gusty. 33 in Duchesne, over 37 mile-per-hour wind in Page. This is the last round of lake effect snow developing right along the Bountiful Bench area here, just south of Farmington. Very narrow, light to moderate snow, probably just about a coating you might see with this band, and then we could put this storm behind us. Same deal kind of down towards the south. It's just kind of hit or miss flurries across the southern mountains and some snow pushing out towards Colorado. As we, again, put this behind us, heading to tomorrow, we're quiet up and down the I-15 corridor. Again, there won't be any falling snow. There will be some snowy spots, icy spots in the roads. Give yourself some extra time. It'll be overcast through much of the day, but here's the third and final storm moving in. We've been mentioning how it's been mainly a central and southern Utah storm. That's where we'll see the best chance for some snow tomorrow evening. But look at this. Some of the models here have trended a little bit further towards the north, and by late Thursday night and into Friday morning, we might see some snow as far northward here as the Salt Lake Valley. And I think that's going to be the northern extent. So just north of the Salt Lake City, probably not even a snowflake, but from Salt Lake City on southward, could maybe see an coating to an inch or two, and then that'll continue on through Friday early afternoon. Just some light snow showers, maybe a little bit of lake effect as well. So again, we could see another storm for central and southern Utah for the valleys, picking up about 1 to 5 inches of snow. The mountains, 5 to 10 inches, including Bryan Head. Alta will do well. The central mountains along the Wasatch Back could maybe see 3 to 6 inches. So this is the third and final storm. And then we get ready for some milder weather returning as we head into the weekend. It's going to be cold out there tonight, teens and 20s, single digits, Park City, Heber, 5 degrees there, 7 in Evanston. St. George, you've got maybe a mix of rain and snow here. Washington County, especially some of those higher elevations just outside of St. George, will see all snow. Some morning flurries on Friday, warming back up into the 60s by next week. And then across the Wasatch Front, we've got 2 really cold days here ahead. That Thursday night into Friday could see some snow showers. Not a big storm for us up to the north, but then, yeah, we've got warmer weather for the weekend. 40s there. It'll be spring skiing once again.
I chuckle because it's just going to melt at this point, like especially in the valley locations.
Yeah, for sure.
Up high,
next week.
it should stick around, but that's what most of the comments on social media said. Oh, great, we got it just in time for it to melt away. Right. So been an interesting winter here in Utah. Maybe next year will be different, but at least we got something.
Yeah, and helping out our snowpack,
sure,
our water. So we'll take it.
Yeah,
it's a significant
take anything
storm
at this
for
point.
Sure.
But you could be golfing by early next week,
yeah,
just in
sure
case
can.
you're interested in that sort of thing. Coming up here on Arc Salt Lake, no timed entry system for arches anymore. This is a big deal. You probably got buried today in the news because of everything else, but how you can plan ahead as peak season approaches. Arches National Park announcing today it will no longer require advanced timed entry reservations this year. So visitors may enter the park any time during operating hours. As visitation increases during peak season, the park is reminding everyone to plan ahead for possible entrance lines and limited parking at popular destinations.
Yeah, that's right. Real-time entrance conditions are available in the park's webcam. A valid entrance pass is still required, which can be purchased online or at the entrance station.
A warship buried for centuries coming back to the surface in Stockholm, Sweden. Record low water levels in the Baltic have revealed the massive wooden hull of a 400-year-old warship. Now researchers are racing to identify it. It's one of 5 ships sunk in the same area around 1640. What do you know? Yeah,
right. Cannonballs, pottery, and ropes have been found on board. Archaeologists say the ship belonged to the Swedish Navy and was deliberately sunk back in the 1640s to help build a bridge.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Just don't go mess with it, though. We need to preserve our history. Thanks for joining us tonight here on Ark Salt Lake at 7 o'clock. Sean has survived the snow. He didn't get blown away. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 7.